I definitely think I agree. The book, which I mentioned by Mark Wallen, I think his book is my favorite quote, where he says, it didn't start with you, but it can end with you. And it's so true, right? It didn't start with us. It was passed down to us, but it can end with us if we do the work.
Episode 10, Breaking the Motherline.
There are stories we inherit long before we have the words to name them. They live in the way we love, the way we fear, the way we strive to be enough. They live in the silences between mothers and daughters, in the expectations we carry, and in the wounds that were never given space to heal. For many of us, especially as women of diaspora and first-generation immigrants, our mothers gave us everything they could: strength, survival, sacrifice. But they also passed down what they themselves never had the chance to process: pain, silence, and the quiet weight of endurance. And so the question becomes, how do we honor where they come from without repeating what hurt us? Hi, I'm Lei Lei Sengchanthalangsy, host of Rooted and Becoming, brought to you by goldtreeco. Today's conversation is about that threshold, the moment where awareness meets courage, the moment we begin to see the patterns, not as personal failures, but as inherited stories, and the moment we decide it could change with us. I'm joined today by Suha Patel, someone who brings both depth and clarity to this journey of self-awareness, healing, and transformation. Through her work and lived experience, Suha invites us to look at our stories with compassion, to understand the roots beneath our behaviors, and to step in a new way of being, one that is conscious, intentional, and free. Together, we will explore what it means to break the motherline, not by rejecting our mothers, but by honoring them through our healing, by choosing presence where there was absence, voice where there was silence, and truth where there was survival. Because when one woman chooses to heal, the trauma she inherited ends with her, and this changes the inheritance of generations to come. This is episode 9, Breaking the Motherline, and this is where healing becomes legacy. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Suha Patel. Hi, Suha.
Hi, Lily. It's so lovely to be here with you today. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I'm so looking forward to our time together.
Oh, yes, me too. It's been such an honor getting to know you, and I'm just so intrigued by your experiences, your background on this topic. And I want to, before we dive in, I'd like to just kind of break the ice a little bit and help give our viewers a little bit about you. And so before we dive into the topic, I'd like to ask you, is there anything that you are excited about in 2026?
Super good question, Lily. It's actually a turning point. I've been working every day since 1992, and in March this year, we were all laid off. I've had a few months to reflect on what would I really like to do next. Rather than just go and get the other job, I've been thinking about what's my purpose? How can I give back more? Just figuring out what I want to do next and pivot is super exciting. So that's my journey this year.
Oh, I love that. I myself have gone through exactly what you're going through. And I'm so excited for you because last year I was laid off like around June, and I did the same thing, just like reflected, turned inward. And this actually gave birth to this podcast. So I, at that point, decided I wanted to do this podcast for Rooted and Becoming. So I am super excited that you are going through that. And yeah, I can't wait to see where you land. And I know whatever it is, you'll be making a huge impact because of just who you are.
Thank you. I'm excited. Sometimes things happen for a reason, right? Layoffs seem scary, but then there's obviously something better and bigger waiting for you at the other end. So
absolutely. Yeah. So can you give our listeners just a little bit of context on who is Suha Patel, a little bit of how you ended up where you are today?
Sure. Alrighty, so I grew up in India back in the 60s, and as you know, a very patriarchal society, but I was really fortunate. My parents were super open-minded. My dad worked for an international company and traveled globally a lot and was exposed to so many Western cultures. I was lucky. They gave me equal opportunity and freedom, just like they gave boys in India. My parents were like, go get an education, go to the US, learn new skills, open your mind, date. It was awesome. And I was super fortunate that they supported me and paid for my wish to come and get a master's in the US. Way back, I came here alone at the age of 22. And fast forward almost 40 years, I've now lived on 4 continents. I've been to all 7. I've had an amazing career, great health, great family, and great friends. Super grateful.
Oh my goodness. Well, congrats on that. And yes, all relatable. It's interesting because like my parents have 5 daughters and the youngest is a boy. And my father was pushing for education, get an education because knowledge is power. And so it's wonderful that you had the same opportunities. I know it was different for my mom growing up in Laos. Like she did not have the same educational opportunities.
That we
So
did.
yeah, for
So
sure. I just wanted to maybe ask you to tell us a little bit about your career because I think it's fascinating. And I just wanted to acknowledge what you're doing up until before this pivot.
Sure. I did my master's in genetics and I trained as a genetic counselor working through many hospitals. But then when I moved to Australia, I pivoted and moved into the biotech industry. And that's been an amazing, amazing career. I've loved it. I've loved being able to work with the scientists, the researchers, the patients, the physicians, and just getting new products that helps change people's lives. I've worked across 4 continents doing that. And it's been just amazing when you see the families and they come and bless you and thank you for helping change their lives. So I've really loved my career and all the companies and all the people I've worked with, all the mentors, all the mentees, all the people that have impacted me and others and patients. So it's been a super, super great career of helping people around the world and meeting some amazing people as well.
Well, thank you so much for what you do. And your career as an executive in biotech has impacted so many around the world. And I just want to thank you for that legacy, whatever you decide you want to pivot to. I just want to say thank you for doing that and bringing your light into that space. And I don't think we acknowledge people enough. And so I just wanted to make sure that I took this opportunity to say thank you, especially as a minority woman. Reaching those levels in their career is a huge undertaking because I'm sure you have your share of experiences of reaching that level in your career. And so congratulations on that success. And again, I look forward to where you end up launching. So
thank you. Thank you. It's been a great journey and grateful for all the coaches and mentors and friends and support along the way. We need a village, right, to get us where we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you and I have had conversations on this topic about breaking the motherline. I just wanted to ask you, at what point did you start noticing like certain patterns showing up in your life?
Yeah, no, I've loved our chats. And, like I said before, my life was great, but something in me made me question it. And I think it was when I turned 50 is when I first started asking myself questions. Who am I really? Why do I do what I do? Why am I quiet in some situations and not in others? Why do I tend to give my power away? Why do I stay small? Why don't I speak up and ask for what I want? Do I even matter? This led me down the whole self awareness and self growth path, which I am actually very grateful for. Some of you may have heard of the Hoffman process. This was my very first introduction to self awareness. I did this course in Napa in California, and I started seeing patterns. There are some things I do just like my dad, and there are some things I do like my mom. And I started questioning myself, like, why do I do this? Is it mine to own? I don't do it consciously. It's just something that happens on autopilot. And I started questioning myself. I started to realize that I do a lot of things exactly like my mother. My mother was well educated and talented and a very alive woman, but often I would see her shut down or go really quiet and give her power away, especially to my dad. When I reflected on it and I spoke to her and her siblings, I realized that my grandmom, which is her mom, did the same. She was very quiet and she stayed small in many, many ways too.
Wow. Definitely
I know.
very relatable experience. I'm so glad that you are bringing light to this topic. I think it's great that we take time to reflect
I think so. Yeah.
on where we inherited these patterns, because it is very much like what we observed growing up, right? And we don't know until we like just actually peel that onion, if you will. And wow, that must have been so kind of liberating to go through that experience. Can you talk about how that silence, the being small and like, the sacrifice, how that shaped your relationship with this concept of maternal lineage?
Yeah. Like you said earlier, it's not easy. So when I tried to change it, it totally wasn't easy. It's so deep rooted in us, right? From even before we're born. And my head knows I should speak up and take space, but the body feels different. I think I realized that it's something inside of me, just like it was inside of my mother. She just did it. It was automatic. It's just part of who we are. And I remember, I think it was earlier last year, I started watching a show on Netflix called Another Self, and it really, really spoke to me. It was about family constellations and how they go about finding patterns within families. And in the show, they mentioned a book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. My favorite book. It was an amazing book, and it made me realize so many things about my life and about myself. Why do I do what I do? In fact, I have my book here. I had to show it to you. I never wanted kids, and I always wondered why, but I think the book really helped me understand it. How patterns are passed down from mothers to the older daughter, and how by doing the work you can change it. How some things are never yours to own, but yours to help end, just like you said.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I am going to put that Netflix special on my list, and I'm going to sign up for that, get that book. Hopefully there's an Audible version of it, or I'll just buy the book itself. But yes, just the title itself, It Didn't Start With You.
It's my
Like,
favorite one.
yeah, that's great. In terms of these patterns, and when did you start to apply additional resources and start to kind of break these cycles and or at least soften them?
So, now that I had the awareness that this could be one of the reasons why I stay quiet and small, I had to work on how to change this. The journey inwards is never quick or easy. It takes a lot of time, support, courage, and the willingness to really see yourself honestly. So, over the years, I've explored many different healing paths, but one that helped me come home to myself a lot was about the inner child work. When I pictured my little girl, for some reason, I always saw her curled up in a little ball with dragons around her. And she believed that if she spoke up, they would notice her and she would be hurt. But if she stayed quiet, she would be safe. My parents loved me deeply and did their very best. But the little girl inside me created her own survival strategy. Stay quiet, stay small, and then you'll stay safe. And funnily, that strategy followed me into adulthood. I didn't speak up much at work. I minimized my abilities. And when mentors told me, you have a gift, you should teach, you should lead, you should be a CEO, my response was always the same. Me? No, thanks. I'm fine here, small, invisible, safe. So
Yeah.
my work really became learning how to reparent the little girl, to just let her know that we're not alone, we're safe, our voice matters, and that we matter. I asked myself, what would help me feel connected to something larger than just my own effort? Even though I grew up in India, I know most people don't understand, but I didn't grow up religious, but I really longed to feel held by something bigger than me. And I was called to do this process. So this was a profound experience with plant medicine in the Amazon, ayahuasca. I did that, and I felt a really deep sense of connection to the earth, to nature, to a wilder field of support. It didn't fix me or do the work for me, but it really helped me feel less alone and more supported in my healing. So those two were really powerful for me.
Wow. I will need to get more information about, because I've heard about ayahuasca, like people talk about it, but I really don't know exactly what that process or that experience entails. It sounds reachable, right? Because we know that people are accessing it, and like, and you hear just amazing people talk about that it's transformational. And yeah, but I have no idea what it is.
We'll talk about it another time, but I had a lot of friends who'd done it. Initially, I was like, no. And they were like, don't worry. When you're ready, it'll call you. And believe me, it really, really helped change me a lot. It was great, but definitely we can chat about it.
Oh, yes, definitely. You talk about at work and staying small because it was safe. I mean, all of this is so relatable in my own professional experience as well. And, for me, like our family escaped Laos in the dead of night on an old canoe that could have easily sunk. We had so many of us in this sort of makeshift canoe. And so being silent was just a natural, way of being, as a kid, and just observing, but being silent. But I was always observing. And that came with, as I grew into adulthood and professionally, that also stayed with me. And so I tend to, when people ask about that experience, I'm like, silence saved me when I was little crossing the Mekong River, but it nearly killed me as I grew up.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you for that. You mentioned that you had a conversation with your mom and aunties, and you learned from them that grandma was very similar in that, and that she had the same sort of patterns. Was it a very emotional kind of conversation? How did that go?
I think my mom was like, why are you asking questions? Why are you suddenly thinking about it? So she had more question marks. My mom's sister was more open to sharing. I think she stayed home a lot longer and was there, and I actually stayed with them a few times as well. So I think it was I think it made them question it, but it also was great for them to be able to talk about it, because I don't think they talked about it for a while. So my mom really enjoyed digging deeper, and I asked her questions, and she did question later, going, why are you asking? But it was super helpful, and it made them think too, and helped me understand a lot more as to what my mom was like when she was young, how she grew up, what changed her, how was her upbringing, how my grandmom was, how her mom had passed away when she was very young, and how it impacted her. So I think it was super great, even for me, to be able to look back and see how my great grandmom passed away, and then my grandmom, and then my mom, and then seeing her patterns, seeing how she was and how she still shows up today, gives me space for growth and understanding and exploring a lot more.
Oh, I love that. And it's so true. I hear from folks who have these deeper conversations with their parents. It usually happens later in life, I've noticed. And it's amazing what you learn. You know what I mean? And it explains so much of like, oh yeah, I could see that. Like why they are who they are, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Because when you're young, you don't question it, right? You're just on autopilot. It's just when you get older, you stop to think, why am I doing this? And why does my mom do it? And what's happening where? So it comes in later, but I wish you could teach it to everyone younger.
Absolutely. And so I had this book that was gifted to me by a dear mentor called Conversations with Your Mother. And I had lost my father to cancer, and I had expressed that I didn't have those conversations with him before he passed. And this book, Conversations with Your Mother, is essentially just questions that you can ask all about their upbringing, all about like what was their favorite food, what was their education, who were their mentors, and all the highs and lows in their lives. And oh my goodness, it is definitely has revealed so much. And so anyhow, I just wanted to share that I applaud you that you went through that, because I think it's so beautiful, because they have stories they want to share as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
And I'm glad I may go get that book too now. So thank you.
absolutely, absolutely. I have the book, and what I ended up doing was giving it to my nieces and nephews and my kids. I'm like, all of you are going to ask grandma a question, so that we all get to share in that experience, and to teach them early on to question and to ask about,
Great idea.
yeah. So now that you've have this realization and a lot of sort of inner healing, and can you share, because this is not easy for folks, because the healing and the trauma, it's really not easy for folks. And so I would love to get your thoughts on how do you honor like your roots and reclaim your voice, and how do you do it in a way, that honors them, but yet those patterns end with you, right? Like, how do we do it gracefully? That's how I would like to personally lead my life. But I would love to get your thoughts, because you seem like you've done it so beautifully.
Every day is a journey, and I grow every day, baby steps, as we say. And I'm still learning to set boundaries. I think that's the most important one, is learning to set boundaries, not feeling guilty, even to notice where environments aren't right for me, and to care for myself without guilt. For the first time, having done all that, I'm learning to set boundaries, to show up differently. I no longer look outside myself for validation. I don't stay in jobs or relationships that I'm still learning to speak up every day and to take space and to ask for what I want. But now I'm doing it more from a place of worth than fear. I'm also learning to trust my intuition more because I think we all have the answers within us. I'm just exploring my purpose. And I very strongly feel that my purpose is to find peace within myself and to help others find peace within themselves. Yeah, it's a journey every single day.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that you shared that it's a journey every single day, because you're so right. I mean, it makes sense, right? To set boundaries and to try to get yourself out of those situations and not feel guilty when you say no. And it's something that you have to choose to do every single day. And it's not easy because sometimes you wake up and, you want to pull your hair out or whatever. But are there daily practices that you do just to kind of help ground yourself?
I do actually. Every night I do gratitude. I kind of scan through my day and think of at least 3 things I'm grateful for. And in the morning, I do an inner child check-in without fail, check in with my little girl. And I also do a lot of at Hoffman, we learned something called the quadrinity check in with your body, check in with your intellect, check in with your emotional child and your spiritual self, just to ground yourself that you are protected, you're connected, you matter, you belong. So there's a few things I do through the day that help me stay true to myself.
I love that. Can you expand on the inner child check-in? Because I'm curious to what that entails, because I would love to try to incorporate that.
Totally. I think through meditations and somatic work, I've been able to, like I said to you, when I see my little girl and dragons, it's very much a bit of tapping in and talking to my little girl and going, how do you feel today? What do you need? Where are you at? What do you want? And it's been so lovely watching her grow up and go. But it's also just connecting and chatting and giving her what she needs and being the mother, right? They call it reparenting your inner child and being the mother for her and just being there and making sure she doesn't feel alone or abandoned or not loved and doesn't matter. So a lot of the inner child work. I have some meditations and a few songs that help me connect deeper with her. So it's just like a little meditation that helps me connect.
Oh, I love that. And that was something that you kind of curated and crafted for yourself. So if we were to kind of think about what calms us, that could be a really good way of nurturing our inner child and ensuring that we're safe. Yeah.
Can I just share one more thing? I'm just going to share one more thing because it came up last night with a girlfriend. So 2 years ago, I decided, since I've been doing this work, I'm like, I don't have kids. And interestingly, tomorrow is Mother's Day. 2 years ago, I started doing this, which was because I have my inner child. I started doing something for myself for Mother's Day. So I told my girlfriend last night, who also doesn't have kids, and I said, I'm going to book a massage for myself tomorrow for Mother's Day. She goes, I love that idea. I'm going to do the same. So it's just another little practice, I guess, from inner child to me and me to her, is that we are together in this. So yes, I'm going to do that tomorrow for Mother's Day.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. And happy Mother's Day. I feel like we have that nurturing role. We play that for other people, and we may not always realize it, but as an aunt or as a mentor,
Totally.
and
Little
yes,
child.
yes, as ourselves. That's right. So absolutely do that. I applaud you. I love it. I love it. Is there any additional sort of thoughts that you want to share that is important around this message of it ends with us, that it never began with you? And how that you want to share with my listeners, and what would you like to just kind of bring up on this topic?
Yeah, totally. I think the biggest one is it's not about blame. Blaming anybody. They all did the best. They all loved us. It's more about awareness and understanding and know why it's not yours to own. So it's really about just be open to digging deeper, self-awareness, being honest, exploring, understanding, awareness, and knowing why we do what we do. And I definitely think I agree. The book, which I mentioned by Mark Wallen, I think his book is my favorite quote, where he says, it didn't start with you, but it can end with you. And it's so true, right? It didn't start with us. It was passed down to us, but it can end with us if we do the work.
Oh my goodness. I love this. It's hard to get ourselves out of that mindset of blame.
Yeah, exactly. It's not blame.
It is. I think it's natural for people to I'm this way because of you, or I am playing victim, or what have you. And in some circumstances, in some environments, it's because I know that one of the things you may be aware of, I am a big advocate and supporter of foster youth programs. And they struggle so much with feeling safe and with feeling a sense of belonging. And many of them have had the worst circumstances done onto them. And one thing that I would love to offer and give to them is a sense of belonging, and that it didn't start with you, but it can end with you. I think it's so powerful because I want everyone to know that we have the power, right? Ourselves, on how we react, and getting to that place of
That's right.
awareness and getting to that place of understanding, and knowing that your
Yeah.
story is your strength, and it's yours to own, but you don't have to carry that forward. I think it's just such a powerful message, Suha. Like, I cannot wait. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what you have in store for yourself as you think about pivoting here, but this message, it's so powerful. We need this. We need this in our communities.
That's super great. Thank you for having this platform and the idea and inviting me and help me share with me. So it's been so lovely. And I look forward to catching up with you very soon in person.
Yes, same here. Same here. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being on Rooted and Becoming. And I hope that our listeners take away all these gold nuggets that you've shared. And I look forward to following you and being a witness to your next steps. And thank you so much.
Thank you too. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
As we come to the close of today's conversation, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Suha Patel. Suha, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your willingness to explore one of the most tender and transformative journeys we can take, the journey of healing our lineage. Thank you for reminding us that breaking generational patterns isn't about blaming the generations before us. It's about meeting them with compassion, understanding the burdens they carried, and making a conscious choice to create something different. One of the ideas that stayed with me throughout our conversations comes from Mark Wallen's beautiful reminder: it didn't start with you, but it can end with you. Those words hold both responsibility and hope. They remind us that while we may not have chosen the wounds we inherited, we can choose what we pass forward. Whether that means raising children differently, showing up more authentically in our relationships, becoming a mentor, nurturing our communities, or simply learning to speak for ourselves with greater kindness, we all have the ability to change our legacy. Healing is never just for ourselves. Every act of self-awareness creates a ripple that extends far beyond our own lives. To everyone listening, thank you for allowing us to be part of your healing journey. If today's conversation resonated with you, I invite you to continue reflecting with our companion worksheet. Share this episode with someone who may need it, and join us during our New Moon community conversation, where we will continue exploring these themes together in a safe and supportive space. Next month, we turned our attention to a question that has shaped so many of our lives. What does it mean to truly be a worthy immigrant? For generations, immigrants have been taught that our value is measured by sacrifice, achievement, and how well we succeed in systems that were never designed for us. But what if worthiness isn't something we earn? What if it has been ours all along? I'm honored to welcome my dear friend, Casey Kunsmanis, with the heartfelt conversation around identity, belonging, resilience, and redefining success on our own terms. Together, we explore what it means to honor our family's sacrifices while giving ourselves permission to build lives rooted not only in achievement, but in authenticity, joy, and self-worth. Until then, may you continue choosing healing over silence, courage over fear, and love over what has always been. Because every time one of us heals, an entire family tree begins to bloom. I'm Lei Lei Sengchanthalangsy, and this is Rooted and Becoming. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next month. Bye. Please follow and subscribe at goldtreeco. Stay rooted and becoming and worthy beyond measure.